Hot blood splashed onto his face. Something hard and yellow-white bounced against his chest and landed at his feet. Stunned, the Kelid looked down. A hunk of some kind of bone or tusk carved into the shape of a clawed hand stabbing a blade into a mountain. A distant part of his mind recognized it as the symbol of the orc's brutal war god. A gurgling scream brought him back to reality. He looked up at his enemy, skewered on the end of a spear nearly long enough to work as a siege weapon. Amazingly, the orc was still alive and still trying to fight. He had both hands wrapped around the shaft of the spear, just below the blade, and was straining to pull himself off. Behind him stood one of the creatures from the crashed boat. It was easily 10 feet tall, covered head to toe in dull green armor, darker than the hull of the boat, but clearly of a similar material. Its right arm was missing from the elbow down, and a strange, viscous black fluid was slowly dripping from the wound. The armor on its chest was heavily dented and damaged, with more of that same fluid leaking from a large crack running across its stomach. The ruby-colored, glass-like eye on its strange helmet was also covered in a spiderweb of cracks, though the liquid dribbling out of here was thin and almost shimmering white. It looked at the massive spear, held easily in its remaining arm, and the orc warrior trying to pull himself off it. With a single, brutally swift and efficient motion, the creature swept the spear to the side, flinging the orc off to slam bonelessly against the side of the boat. He crumpled to the ground and lay still. The creature focused its gaze on the Kelid and moved forward. The Kelid braced himself for an attack, but instead, a voice boomed out, loud enough to make him wince in pain.
Mehatwa Janura, Zalituta Elshad, Sibilante.
This is Pod Against the Machine.
Pod Against the Machine.
Welcome back to Pod Against the Machine, the only actual play podcast that used to be a bird, but now it's not. We're just a belt full of fruit now. I'm your host, and here's everybody.
I'm a Zach Nana.
Orange, you glad I didn't say Jeff Nana?
No, say it more. Hello, everyone, by the way.
Hello.
We may not have our claps down, but boy, do we have our intro banter down pat. You would believe that it only took us about 4 takes to make that sound as natural as it did. This is really, I mean, you've listened to us for 100 episodes. To hear intros like this, we are on fire. I feel like
so good at this.
The hundreds we're really in the swing of it now.
Oh, yeah. Ironed out the awkwardness in the first 100 eps, and from here on out, it is nothing but professional camaraderie.
Just oozing charisma.
I mean, yeah, that common just listen to podcast 100 episodes till it hits its groove, and you're good.
I mean, that's what I've been telling people.
They're like, man, I used to only associate this number with Dalmatians, and now I associate it with quality podcasts.
Which is why we're making exactly 101 episodes. Thanks, everyone.
We're done here.
Well, last week, weirdly, I can't seem to remember what happened last week, but last time on the show, last time we had a normal episode of this show, we had a shopping trip and some bullet making and getting a little healing from Brother Derviach and a little bit of light sacrilege in the temple of Erastil. And got a note from our dear friend Vargas, who revealed that it was all a trick. He wasn't really coming to Iadenveigh. He's busy just power leveling. He's just beating level 1 goblins up over and over again until he slowly climbs up levels. He's cheesing it. It's not right. But everybody knows he's not dead, and everybody's a little bit mad at him, but at least we don't have to be mad at Brixbi anymore.
Yes. Only took 20 episodes, but I'm no longer in the crosshairs as much.
I don't know that Asher was ever too mad at Brixbi. He definitely has that dad energy of not mad, just disappointed.
Yeah, Kira and Brixbi made up like 3 episodes ago. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Sure they did.
Yeah, we just, anytime that we have anything rough, we just take some trauma and just bond that right over it. You just take the trauma and you bond it right over any of those problems.
Well, it is evening at this point in High Home, and I think the sheer number of bodies has decreased over the course of the day. Basari left to find other lodging, and I think some of the miners who are in better shape have resolved to leave town, and maybe some have gone over to the lumberyard to camp, just so there's enough beds now. You don't have to step on people every step of the way. Is there anything you'd like to accomplish before going to bed and calling it a day on Rover the 11th?
I think not long after sunset, Aluwen gets back, and he's got a cloak around his shoulders over the top of his robes that he already has, and it doesn't look anything like what he bought. It's now like the same, like really sickly, kind of hurts your eyes yellow of his robes, and it's like short enough to actually fit him now. Like the one he bought was probably too tall, and it looks almost like even the material has changed, but he just comes in wearing that like nothing's going on, like, yeah, no, this is normal, and walks off to bed. Thanks, Brixbi, for bringing the rest of his stuff home.
Definitely didn't look through your stuff. Nice cloak, by the way.
Thank you. I was able to make it work like yours.
You are just filled with surprises. He looks back to his book and continues scrawling. I'm scrawling.
And Aluwen spent $500 on new clothes just to ruin them immediately.
No, I appreciate that Aluwen is tri-classed into Silksworn Occultist. Because you have to have those expensive clothes to function as your implements.
Oh, such a good archetype.
When you get your power from fashion, no one can stop you. Well, as we bring down the curtain on a very productive day, everybody goes off to sleep in the little different bedrooms in High Home. In the middle of the night, when it should be perfectly dark, something wakes Kira up. When you're awake in your room, there's a candle burning on the bureau. I don't know if Kira would normally leave a candle burning, but there's one burning now. Maybe Kira doesn't even know herself. The shadows are dancing on the wall as the light just flickers to and fro, and they keep making these weird shapes, like almost humanoid shapes. And a voice comes out of the shadows, and it says, "What are you doing so far from home, child?"
Hello?
Hello.
Hi. I'm Kira. Who is this?
I'm a friend.
Okay. Friends are usually better communicators, but not always. Where are you?
Doesn't really matter.
Yes?
I'm here, effectively, but I'm also not here.
That's kind of the problem that I'm having. I can't see you, and you shouldn't be in here. And my normal response to this would be violence.
Perhaps that's why I'm not here.
Okay, well that's fair. What can I help you?
Well, I'd like to be your friend, if you'll have me.
Oh, gosh.
I have a great deal to offer you and your friends, if you'll accept it. Answers, questions, power, whatever you want.
I have a pretty strong policy against accepting things from people I can't see. No thank you. No thank you. Wait. What does being friends mean?
Being friends is helping each other.
What do you want help with?
I don't need anything from you right now, besides just to get to know you. I just want to understand who this child is, what she's looking for.
Oh, I don't know if I'm really looking for anything. Maybe my friend, but we're gonna find him later.
Is that friend the one-armed one? The leftover?
That at point, she immediately goes from like half like kind of sitting up in bed staring at this candle to fully sitting up. She's like, how do you know that? Who are you?
As I said, I'm your friend. I'm his friend as well. A man who dies and comes back, dies and comes back. One must wonder how much is left.
Did you do something to him? Because I don't care if you're not here, I can find you. I've got decent perception.
I haven't done anything to that man in a long, long time.
You did something before?
I like to believe I helped make him the man he is now, but now he's in his God's hands. We shall see if his God can make a weapon of him.
Well, if you want to be friends, can you send him a message?
I can try. What would you like to tell him?
Kira rolls over, grabs another bar napkin, because she keeps them just on the side thing. It's like, friend here, this is a map. Don't worry, he'll know what it means. You just tell him we got his message and we miss him, and we hope he comes back soon when he's done with his thing.
I'll be sure to let him know as soon as I can. I'll let him know that you miss him. Did you know that your mother misses you? Well, I suppose that's not entirely accurate. She misses the idea of you. She doesn't know that you're out there, really.
What? How do you...
If she could see you, child, she would want you to be strong. She would want you to be so very strong.
How do you know?
I know a great deal about her. She would want you to shake the very world with your anger. Do you think you can do that for her, child?
I guess so. I don't think I'm angry. I think I just care about my friends.
Perhaps you'll have to find a way to get angrier. Perhaps I can help you with that. I think the candle winks out at that point. Instead of the shadows dancing on the wall, it's just a dark room.
And no more voices, I assume?
It seems like when the candle went out, that whatever presence that was ceased to be.
Can I see, or I guess I can't really see anything right now. I would like to feel around for some source of light, and we'll just go ahead and keep those night lights on.
Well, you've got dark vision, so...
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, okay. So I can, see the candle itself.
Yeah.
That's chill. I'm gonna go relight it very cautiously.
Yeah. Lights like a normal candle.
I'll, wait a couple seconds to see if I hear anything. I assume I don't.
Yeah, voice doesn't come back.
And then take the candle just back to bed and just sit up. And, bedazzle.
The candle just gets sparklier and sparklier over the course of the night.
Truly, I don't know what it is. It's nice.
And, yeah, morning comes without any further incidents. You've got a whole day in front of you.
I do feel the need to say that I, myself, Izzy, would never talk to a disembodied voice in the middle of the night. I would take my cat and I would go away.
I don't know why.
Which is what I recommend all of us do, but, adventure. Anyway, next morning.
I wish I could agree with you. I'm dumb as hell, Izzy. I would totally talk to that candle. I would be like, Tell me more.
Nope, don't do that.
After meeting Aluwen in the chicken pens, it's like Asher just expects any morning to hear like roosters crowing and Aluwen to be there in with them being like, cock-a-doodle-doo. I just needed to speak that out so it wasn't just in my brain.
Even if there are no roosters, Aluwen's just doing it anyway, standing on a fence.
Aluwen, get down from the
Saw this
roof.
happen once.
That was my contribution that did not break the continuity of the scene. And really kind of apropos of the previous conversation.
That's what Asher was dreaming about while this conversation with the hero was happening.
How does he always get on the roof?
He must be exceptional at jumping.
Perhaps we should have a vertical leap competition.
A leap off. I think Kira's been up for a while, for once. Just bedazzling that candle, which is like down to like nubbin of glitter.
I think Brixbi is woken up and I'm tracing his finger over the kind of jagged, almost hieroglyphic lettering that his spellbook is transitioned into, and he's looking at a piece of paper that he keeps with all of the other pieces of paper, the pieces of paper that he shared with Asher, so he could learn that language that he learned so far underground so many years ago himself. And he just takes an extra moment preparing the spells that morning and then closes the book. And for the third time, looks off into the distance. It's a lot of that.
What's he looking at?
Pensive staring.
Waiting
Really
for
makes for
someone to
good
notice him doing
radio. Yeah, he's looking around. He's like looking over at you, and then you look at him, and he's just looking away. Yeah, that perfect for our
No, never mind.
listeners.
For a second, I thought we lost your.
Nope. That was just me demonstrating how pensive I can be on a moment's notice.
Daniel Day-Lewis podcasts.
Daniel Day-Lewis. I mean, first thing that man does when he walks into a room is just look at something, and that's how you know he's an exceptional actor.
For 7 hours.
Is your friend okay? He's just been staring at that poster of a kitten all day.
Hang in there. So yeah, Brixbi finishes preparing his spells, and I think he'll wake up and maybe notice that Kira's up earlier, because usually I would imagine canonically is the last one up always, because teenager, and you rarely up before me. You have a bad dream.
Kira is like staring at her candle, really, again, not even really doing anything with it, just kind of pushing around hot wax and glitter. And when Brixbi talks, she like does that full, like just 6 inches off the floor kind of jump. Like, no? Yes. Maybe? Hey, you didn't hear a candle talking to you last night, did you? Because I also didn't either, depending on your answer.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm troubled sleep. Lots of strange thoughts, but sorry to hear. Candle, you say?
Well, no, right? Because that doesn't make any sense. It was like maybe a dream, probably a dream, like you said.
Was it all like, be our guest, or was it more like... That's what they sing, right?
Oh,
I'm not a Disney
yeah.
kid. I'm 1000% not, so that is the best that I can do.
Did the candle look like Lenny from Law and Order?
Yeah, he looks down and looks up. I hate to say this, but I think that of all of us, maybe Aluwen would be the one to ask about dreams. He just, I don't know. I think he can make sense of the things that don't make sense to me. But Brixby's also distracted. His book is still cracked in his hand.
Kira takes this in and nods, and pretty seriously considers going over to just like shake Aluwen awake. Like, hey, I have a candle question, but we'll reconsider. And then just instead sit uncomfortably close and stare at him until he does wake up.
That candle's name? John Wick. Kidding.
Nice. Sky metal.
That's a callback to a conversation that happened when we weren't recording.
We weren't recording.
Just for you, listeners.
Callbacks. Just for you, personal FBI agents. Oh, sorry.
Asher had kind of been quietly repairing one of the broken mundane guns and didn't really say anything while Kira and Brixby were talking, but while she sits there staring at Aluwen in his sleep, Asher would say, "You know, when we were in Scrapwall in the Clockwork Chapel, I was awakened one evening by a strange voice, and it asked me questions and talked a lot about shadows, and at the time I thought it was perhaps exhaustion from all the ordeals we'd been through, and now I'm not so sure if perhaps someone is watching us or keeping tabs on us somehow, and if it might have been that same voice."
Did they ask to be your friend?
Not that I recall exactly. It was more... I was so put off by the whole thing that I don't really remember all the details. All I really remember was it talking about shadows and saying that I was no stranger to them or at home in them. It was really strange.
Asher, you're really nice. Do you think that the voice was good?
I honestly don't know. It didn't feel as much as a disembodied voice in the darkness can feel like anything, but it didn't feel particularly good or bad. It just seemed... I don't know. Other?
She said... It said it knew my mom. My other mom. And I didn't know about her until we went to Scrapwall, really. The only other lead I have about my mom is the lady who was looking for Vargas. I don't know how the darkness talked to me, but I think they know my mom, and I think they know Vargas too.
Well, perhaps if Brixby or Aluwen hears from a strange, disembodied voice, we can... Maybe they could ask, "Hey, are you that same voice that talked to Asher and Kira?" It would really help. That at least confirm some suspicions.
We gotta get specific with my voices. Because I got that one, the one with the eye, and some other ones.
Mayim Bialik.
Yes. Yep. We'll never remember your actual name, Ruchalik. But I think it's fair to take caution. So it's approached each of us individually. Waning hours of the night, the early hours of the morning. That's not where help comes from. That's how evil creeps in. Brixby gets really tense. He still has a lot of very unprocessed trauma from the Ruchalik, which in turn was only empowered by all of its unprocessed trauma that it itself. This is really the enemy all along. It's unprocessed trauma.
Delicious unprocessed trauma.
CR 45.
So, well, Brixbi looks like he's about to say something, and he's still holding his book. There's like a piece of paper that he's using as a kind of very evident sort of marker in there. He's looking at his book, and he looks up. It's like, I think it's time to go to the Badwater. I feel strong enough now. You don't even need to roll a sense motive. That might not have been the thing that he was initially going to say. But he then puts on a more resolved face and says, I think it's time. We should talk to Red Fang. We should talk to the Alderman. Perhaps, if we need any more information. But I think we should head south. We need to find that spy.
Yes, I believe it was Lady Gwendolyn who first discovered the old Badwater. It made her feel like she couldn't love another. Couldn't help it.
I can tell that's a joke about music because I don't get it.
Yeah, it's a No Doubt song.
Yeah.
I
was going to say you've got no doubt about it.
Oh, I apologize.
It's okay.
She isn't a holler back girl, in case anyone is wondering. It's
I get that one.
Important distinction.
Yeah.
So, is there a copy of the Daily Stag?
Oh, yeah, of course.
I'm going to pick that bad boy up. What's the headline?
Cowardly counselors conduct clandestine collusion. Today's top story is a big one, family. It seems several members of the Deadeye Council, led by Brother Derviach himself, have conspired with outsiders who were previously implicated in the death of dear Farmer Jevick to release the Technic League spy from custody without allowing him to stand trial. Yadra and Ashworth, along with both trash speakers, were seen escorting the spy, commonly known as the Drifter, northwest out of town late morning 2 days ago, in the company of two of the aforementioned outsiders. The most likely conclusion is that they've chosen the northwest road to deceive onlookers, and will soon turn toward the east and make their way for Starfall, carrying manifold intelligence on the current operations of our dear Iadenveigh to the Technic League. It remains to be seen how our humble hamlet figures into the nefarious plans of those foul wizards, but I, for one, will not rest, not for one instant, till I have grabbed this conspiracy by its roots and pulled it up out of our land.
Dear God, that was beautiful.
I mean, that was so good, and also I hate it.
Yeah, fantastic. I give you a Sky Medal, but you don't deserve it just because you own all the Sky Medals.
Chief Muckraker, right there. My word.
I can't stand this guy, and I know that Brixbi wouldn't kill him because he has bigger proverbial three-eyed fish to fry in the era of Numeria, or in the area of Numeria. But like, oh my God, Zach the player just wants to just beat this nerd down.
Okay, I'm so glad it's not. I was just like, I won't let Kira kill him, but I could.
I could
and I
too.
don't want to murder
Izzy
people.
and Zach are jumping straight into this game.
I don't know why you hate the
truth. No, if he dies, then there'll be no more great stories for Sam to read, and I'm really into it.
I really enjoy it too, and that is the only reason why you're allowed to live.
It'll be a like, okay, there you go.
Sam.
Yeah, not only is he living, you're subscribing to the paper, and you're going to have like a raven delivering it to you when you're halfway across the country, so Sam has to keep writing these.
Yeah. In exchange, please send them directly to my door every day.
Oh, sadly, he died, and the whole factory burned down.
Oh no, Upton Sinclair was right. Brixbi, I guess, like, takes the newspaper, like, looks at it, looks up at the rest of everybody else, and just kind of holds it up and is just like, it's still us. Well, sort of us. Anyway, I think we should get to the bottom of this, Technic League spy thing. I believe we should head south. Was there anything that anyone wanted to do before we left Iadenveigh?
Yeah, can you just hold that paper out maybe like a couple inches to your left?
All right, yeah, just
gonna chainsaw right on through that.
Oh wow, yeah, that is a cutting critique.
It's just chihuahuas, everyone.
Yeah, that's what I was imagining.
Oops, my bad. Yeah,
and I think the
disguised weapon
sound of the chihuahuas chewing through this paper finally wakes Aluwen up. And he just says, "Oh, good morning. I think I'm finally getting used to this schedule you all keep where you're up during the day so much."
We're gonna go to the Badwater, and then also I have a question. We can talk and walk.
Yes.
All right. You're walking. Commence the talking.
Do we need any more information about this place, or do we've asked the alderman?
We
The
asked
alderman
quite a few questions
gave us
about
a
it.
lot
Yeah.
of info about it. I mean,
Yeah,
in
he
my
gave
notes-
us like the info of who found it, that family that lives there for whatever reason they decided to, and
Oh, they kind of own the
Oh,
property.
yeah, because they go down there for
Yeah.
like rock stuff, right? They go do rock
Yeah.
things.
They do rock stuff down
Yeah.
there, yeah.
Yeah, those rocks are pretty sweet for chiseling and making
For how
stuff
bad
out.
the water is.
The bad water.
yeah, they have like a quarry. Yeah.
Yeah, the bad water really toughens those rocks up.
As Badwater is wont to do.
The Bardleighs. Amina Bardleigh, matron of the stonemason family.
Oh, yeah. Sounds right.
Bad, please.
But as someone who lives in the state of Florida with our amazing, super strong bedrock foundation, I can say if you want some nice, powerful stone, you definitely want lots and lots of water interacting with it all the time.
Really wet that rock up.
Well, that's the thing is you're thinking about good water. And good
By
water bad for
contrast.
stone. Bad water good for stone. That's just science.
That's just science.
Pot against the machine. That's just science.
You thought when we started off we were just about fruit, but we've got some geology and stuff in here too, guys. Just keep
Next
on
100
listening.
episodes,
Rocks.
nothing but BS, and by that I mean bachelors in science. Right?
You got there.
Proud of you.
We got there. Anyway, I'm on my disc and I have mage armor. I also cast the Sky's Weapon today before they cut that into tiny pieces, so there are chihuahuas. I'm just going to keep... Oh, and last thing before we leave, Brixbi is going to turn to Asher and say,
Do you want me to, I set aside a couple things for you. Yeah.
and he points to bullets, and he also points to a gun that isn't broken in a spell book.
Do you want either of these things?
I do have one more firearm that could use some repair. If truly is a spell you're amenable to casting, I don't mean to take up any of your resources. It could wait till the end of the day, just to be on the safe side. I have these counts, 2 revolvers, it's +1 pistol, 7 pistols in the bag. I believe I'm good on armaments for now.
Asher's Armaments. Just in case, if anyone's updating the Asher's Armaments Twitter, that is a most recent count right there.
All right. Well, let me know. I'll leave at least one of my reserves open in case we need it.
He's leaving a level 2 spell open for Make Whole, in case anyone is wondering. In more technical terms, what's going to happen, I will help Asher fix that gun. You have to read between the lines, because we care about you, the listener. Anyone riding on the disc with me? Do we have horses still? Did we get rid of those bad boys?
I think you stabled them in town, but the Badwater's not far. It's just like basically across town.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
I thought it was
like a
further.
no, it's like a 2-mile walk. Like you can do it in half an hour.
Excellent. Brixby doesn't walk anymore. He's a wizard.
Kira drapes herself across the disc, like horizontally. I assume just with like hands and legs trailing along the ground.
Torso on there, but the tips of the feet just dragging behind the disc.
Like a little, like the little kick pads they give to kids to learn to swim.
No, Brixby has to save a Make Whole every night to fix Kira's shoes.
It's just kicking up so much dust.
All right. I have prepped my daily spells. I have done everything that is smart to do before you go and do something dumb. Yeah, let's go do something dumb.
Let's do something dumb.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, the Badwater. Everyone in town knows the Badwater. It's a swath of land that is... It's bad. It's down on the south side of town. It's still within the wall. It's just down all the way at the southern end. Not a lot of people living around there. Obviously, you have to pass through the Bardleigh's territory, but I mean, it's a pretty big, rocky expanse of nothingness, basically. So you can walk by without actually encountering them unless you specifically want to go over to where their houses are or where the people are digging up rocks and hauling and stacking them.
I'm good. They can do their rock things all on their own. Unless we want to talk to them. Do we want to talk to them?
Maybe after we kind of investigate. You know, I'm kind of I'm curious. Hey, you guys had any like recent subcontractors or something? Seen anybody like, bird watching that you haven't seen before? But maybe we can go and look for that one tree that has an Androphan symbol carved into it, and like, aha, dig here, and that's where something's buried.
Maybe it would be worth swinging by the old Mason station and asking them if they've seen anybody down there that does not belong. Besides us, the teenager cowboy rat and alien.
So, based off of our intelligence, seems this spy would be out of place in the Badwater. Now, we have some idea who belongs here and who doesn't, I suppose, but probably not more than these Masons. Perhaps we ask them before proceeding if they've seen anything out of place, anyone who doesn't belong.
Well, what's our angle here? I know that Hoskett mentioned that we helped escort the supposed Technic League spy out of town, but are we to believe that the town now thinks that business is taken care of? Or, if we say, hey, we're here looking to help find the Technic League spy, is that our story, or?
I think we can come up with another reason, especially now that we've endeared ourselves to Red Fang, Alderman, the Council. We could be investigating reports, see if they've seen anything strange. Outside of the normal mutations we've seen down here. We don't have to show our whole hand. Granted, social propriety isn't really my thing. It's more all of you with your positive charisma scores and whatnot. It's more all of you. But I imagine we could probably give ourselves a more official reason to be here.
Aldrin did speak rather highly of the red fish. We could say that ask where the best spot to fish for them might be, and maybe not.
I think we could be a bit more explicit. We have very little to lose in terms of we're looking for suspicious characters in the area. This is an insular community. It seems to be the type of thing they would be like, oh yeah, that guy over there, he doesn't live here.
Fair point. Sounds like you'd prefer to speak with them first before we go exploring then.
I'm always down to jump 2 paws in, as it were. They might be able to save us a little bit of work. We don't know who belongs here and who doesn't. We'd have to discern. Perhaps, they could be like, oh yeah, that's the normal rock zombie that works for us and collects rocks. Don't worry about him, or whatever.
It's always in the back of his Dracula.
Back of my Dracula. Don't sue us. Robert Zombie.
Rob Zombie. He's going to do worse than suing.
Robert Zombie.
He's going to send Power Man 5000 after us.
Oh, man.
Kira, what do you think? You haven't been kind of quiet this morning.
Yeah, I'm just tired. Let's go talk to these people. We'll talk to them politely, like with Asher words, and if they don't listen, we'll talk to them less politely, like with small dogs.
Yeah, Yeah. That's my Kira. Let's go.
Well, if you approach the house of the Bardleighs, which is kind of a ramshackle set of like cabins that have almost been built together, like as the family's expanded over the years, they've kind of just like continued to add like more and more rooms to it as they add generations to the place. And there's an older human woman sitting on the porch, not in a rocking chair, but in a like straight back chair that doesn't move because she's very serious. And she's looking out at all of you with eyes kind of narrowed as you all approach. She'll kind of run a hand over her jaw as she sees the lot of you coming and say, what can I do for you, strangers?
I will say Aluwen does have his hood up again. We can just kind of assume anytime we're going somewhere new, it's weird lumpy hood head, not creepy face.
Good morning to you. Might you be Amina Bardleigh, the leader of this family?
The very same, but who's asking?
A pleasure to meet your acquaintance. My name is Asher, and these are my friends Kira and Brixbi and Halloween.
She just kind of stands there like she's waiting for more.
Certainly don't mean to interrupt the hard work you and your family do here with the quarrying, but we came to town a couple days ago and have been just curious if perhaps you may have seen anybody you're not accustomed to seeing in these parts, either around the spring or just sort of on your property. We've heard there might have been a suspicious person, and, well, we understand how valuable the security of this community is to its inhabitants, and in exchange for the hospitality we've so kindly received, we're hoping to do another good deed and make sure we followed up on those reports.
And she kind of thinks about it for a second, and, like, looks down, and, like, she's sizing the lot of you up, and she goes, like, all right, you've followed up. Run along now.
Perhaps the morning sun is confounding my senses, but I don't believe I heard an answer to my query.
I suppose I'm not sure why I would answer to a stranger. I've certainly never seen you before. I've never seen any of the four of you. If you don't mind me saying, the lot of you look like you come from very far away indeed.
Brixbi elbows Asher and hands him a little rolled cloak.
We got this. Maybe she'll notice it.
Yes, that's entirely fair. You're absolutely right. We are not locals to this town. And Asher will sort of pick up that hearth mantle and drape it over his shoulders, roguishly, rakishly, as though modeling for GQ.
Blue steel.
Good quarry, you know. It's her favorite magazine. We were gifted this by Aldrin Ashworth, affectionately known to his friends as Red Fang, in exchange for helping take some of the work off of his shoulders. See, he's rather a busy man, and he's just kind of name-dropping at this point. And, you know, when we were helping him and Elderman Gunnet with their assorted deeds, they needed helping, and, well, we even went so far north as to Purdyton. Some folks call it Party Town. Believe you've heard of it. Believe we've established our trustworthiness to the town council, the Deadeye Council, and I understand your reluctance to dialogue with us, as this is the first time we've met, but... And he'll just give her that honest smile. You can trust us. And I'll go ahead and roll a diplomacy. It's a 25 before any aids, if they're forthcoming.
Brixby's a bad aid. But I guess I did hand you the cloak, so why not?
You just gotta get a 10.
I got an 8. With my -1, I don't aid.
Aluwen got a 25, so that beats the 10. I think he aids by just staying in the back and not saying or doing anything.
Yeah. Oh, Kira aids with a 3 by saying, and I'm Kira at the end of all of the whole thing.
And she sighs and sort of glances down at her copy of the Old Stag Daily, which is, of course, under Quarryman Quarterly.
Better homes and quarries.
She says, I heard you were involved in the nasty business with old Jevic, and then the big kerfuffle that took everybody away from town a couple days ago. That must have been some problem. You all had to take a Technic League spy with you, had to take half the spellcasters in the town. I suppose that's smarter people than me involved. If you must know, that day when you were all off gallivanting doing whatever you were, I don't know if somebody got the idea that there would be fewer eyes out or what, but I did spy someone snooping around all along the coast of the Badwater, and they were too far away for me to get a good look at them. I called out, tried to get them to identify themselves, and then they took off running. My eyes ain't so good anymore, and I certainly ain't fast on my feet, but sent my grandson to chase after them. He's blessed with legs like a deer, but he couldn't catch up. Whoever it was, they must have been fast.
Well, that is certainly useful information. Is your grandson around that we might speak with him? And also, which direction was he heading? Was it back towards the rest of the town or elsewhere?
This person was on the far side of the quarry, but they ran up to the north and disappeared into the woods. And the boy, he should be out back, up to some nonsense.
Might we inquire as to his name?
Elborn. He's my grandson.
Well, we are fortunate that you and your grandson were so observant on that day. I certainly hope it was nothing more than a harmless observation by somebody who was startled being observed. But to be on the safe side, if we have your consent, we'll ask Elborn if he might have a little more information, and we just want to make sure everything's on the up and up.
Knock yourselves out. I don't know how useful the boy will be, but...
Brixbi preemptively puts a hand on Asher's arm.
She doesn't mean it. It's a turn of phrase. Please don't. You're the healer.
Yeah, with his negative strength score, he ended up accidentally unhandsing himself anyway. So yeah, Asher would just kind of look to the rest of his companions and see if they have any other questions for her.
Good job, Asher.
This shape you saw, this person, anything. Adult. Are they big? Are they small?
Wasn't a huge person by any stretch of the imagination, but I couldn't tell you any details. They were this a few decades ago, perhaps, but not today.
We thank you. You, rock, as it were.
I'll be taking back that clue now.
We wouldn't be able to roll anything. I don't know if it'd be like nature or dungeon or anything about like a person with deer feet.
It's not literal deer feet, it's figurative language.
Come on. We only can have one Asher in this party. We can't get your own bit, man, is what Asher just says, knocks him over.
Nah, Asher's on the lookout for a young centaur.
Trying to think of something actual helpful to add, and I really don't have it from this conversation.
Yeah,
like, she didn't really give us a super lot of info, and there's not really anything I think to ask her.
I mean, yeah, I don't think there's much we can ask about, but it did tell us that there might be tracks that Asher could potentially pull something from. It did. And yeah, we might be able to get a little bit more information. And who knows? Like, she also told us where they went, into the woods. Like, maybe we can get something from the woods. Like, we have more than we did before, which is just walking around and just being like, you're supposed to be here?
And the fact that it did happen on the day where we were out of town with like half of the people in charge of looking for the spy, that's gotta be who it was.
Without a doubt.
Certainly lets us rule out it's probably not Red Fang, Thelpin, Kifkin, Basari.
And anybody else of like substantive size or built, right? Like, I mean, at the very least, she was able to narrow down that it wasn't like a particularly like. I mean, granted, we don't know. There's plenty of shape-changing magic. We definitely, especially at the level that we're at now, can't discount that. Especially someone as duplicitous as a Technic League spy. But
Yeah.
We've already ruled out newspaper guy, right?
no,
Definitely not
we
him.
hate him.
No, we are not.
And we will,
Murder him.
even if
It's so
if
fun.
he's ruled out, he's not ruled out. The evidence may
ruled
rule
in.
him out, but my gut.
Got a hunch, partner. This guy's bad news.
Even if we discover it is Hoskett, we've just gotta wait until like the latest possible time, just to get a few more issues of that old Stag Daily.
I mean, we can bring him with us. It'll just be a very unpleasant experience for him. Just every day, punch him in the face, just a little.
Hit him with a rolled up Stag Daily.
Thought you were going to say you have to wait for the opportunity to shout stop the presses.
Yeah, I can't wait till we insert Newsies reference here.
We open the gates and seize the day.
There we go. That's it. That is what we call fan service that you can expect for the next 100 episodes on Pod Against the Machine. After our sponsors. Okay, we don't have
It's
sponsors
just
yet.
science. Yeah, I'm down to go tracking. Before they leave, Mikura will hand just a very plain sticker that says "You rock," period, with a picture of like a small stone.
Yes.
There you go, ma'am. Thank you for your help.
We should have asked the boy's father. Is he around, or is he more of a rolling stone? The papas go that way. Anyway, I'll see you
She
later.
glares at you even harder.
Just discs around the corner.
Yeah, because if there's nothing a mother or grandmother loves more,
Truly
it's
loves.
asking about the father of the child.
and with an intimation that he isn't there at all. Yeah, no, absolutely. Really just forced all of the rock humor that we could out of this.
Just light misogyny.
Just saying, Papa was a rolling stone. I just wanted to make the joke. Let's go talk to her son.
I smelled what you were cooking.
I can't even.
That was
I
my
appreciate that.
rock.
I got. Yeah, that was good. Good job.
Dwayne. So we look for a centaur boy named Elborn.
Elbow, where are you?
Are you going for Elborn first, or are you going for tracking first?
I think we're going to talk to Elbow. He's
Yeah.
like right out back.
I didn't know if we wanted to look for the tracks just because they were already like a full day old.
I mean, if
they are going to get old.
Okay.
if Elbow's in the backyard, and if you
Yeah,
could
I
take
guess if he's just literally sitting behind the house, then we can talk
Immediately
to him first.
outside.
and if he's like, you know what, this guy, whatever it was running, it had like a weird limp, and then it could help us, differentiate which tracks might be theirs.
Yeah, true.
Totally.
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't take that long to talk to him.
If you head out behind the awkwardly shaped house, there is a 9-year-old boy in the back there. He's got like this setup where there's like these boxes. He's got set up like on a fence, and then he's throwing rocks at them and trying to knock over more than one of the little like juice box sort of things at once. And he jogs over and sets them back up. He's having fun. He's being a kid.
Well, this is the Galarian equivalent of taking your little BB gun out and shooting things in your backyard.
Well, in Iadenveigh, he can't have a gun,
No, it's true. Unless he's Asher.
He's got a hand crossbow.
Someday.
That's a great shot. Trying to endear myself to a child, a la Toby.
No, that's a much better idea. My first thought was like, Kira walks up to him and is like, "Hey, little boy," but that's terrifying. So I didn't say it.
Hey, kid, want some candy?
Hi, do you want to play with these chihuahuas?
Hey, you know what would be better than those rocks there, kiddo? Is one of the guns my friend has in his bag. Hey,
You like guns, little guy?
come here, little elbow. Yeah, since we're really... let's cut all of that out.
Cut the whole thing out. He is not approached by the 6-foot-tall orange woman to ask him.
Instead, a 6'3" human-looking men with a cowboy hat and a charming smile. And he's still canonically wearing the hearth mantle over his cloak of resistance. Because what else cooler than one cloak? Two cloaks. Well, that was quite the throw you had there. Are you perhaps hellborn?
And he'll look over at Asher and then he'll say, so what if I am?
Well, I heard from the smartest woman I have ever met on that front porch that there's no faster, more perceptive boy than her grandson Elborn. So I thought, well, we've got to find out for ourselves just how much detail this kid could possibly be able to recount to us. Because I heard that while we were out of town a couple days ago, you chased after some person around the spring, and we were really hoping you were able to get a good look at him.
He sort of frowns and goes, well, I chased somebody, but I think they cheated. There's no way they were faster than me, but they were just disappeared.
That does sound very improbable that they could outrun you. Before they disappeared, though, were you able to determine anything about them that was particularly memorable? Color of hair or clothing that sort of might be able to help us pick them out in the crowd?
Maybe a name tag, but on the back of their shirt.
He says, why?
Like a sports jersey.
The back of their JanSport.
I didn't get a great look at them because they had such a big head start and then they cheated and everything, but I might have gotten something.
Ooh, that something does pique my interest. What can we... I'm trying to think of a non-creepy way to be like, what's your price, kid? Asher will kind of pull a silver piece out of his pack and just kind of flick it off his thumb and catch it and say, would this jog your memory, young man?
He says, maybe, but it just kind of looks like it's the wrong color.
Kid, look at me. I will make you invisible for 8 minutes. What is the biggest dream that a young man of your age could have, but to not be seen in whatever it is that you want to do for 8 minutes? You tell us. No one has any idea where you are. You could do whatever you want. I give you permission.
Chaotic.
His eyes go absolutely wide at this offer. And he goes, okay.
It's a deal then.
Brixbi reaches up, pulls off one of his eyelashes, jams it in some gum arabic, and is holding it.
That's all I need from you. And you know what we need.
He says, I get the silver too.
Yep.
Deal.
And then he'll run over to a corner of the yard and say that you can't go back on this. You promise.
No, I wouldn't.
And he'll lift up like one of the posts. Looks like it's like broken off at ground level, and so he'll pick up the fence post and pull out a little round thing, and then say, and let the post go back down. They dropped this when they were running away, and it's this little concave brass disc about 2.5 inches in diameter, with a little elastic kind of like finger-sized loop on the back of it.
Can we roll anything on this?
If you want to roll like a knowledge local.
Ooh, the loc. Ooh, rolling nat 20 for a 31.
Wow.
That's a pretty...
That obliterates my 23. I was feeling really good about a natty 18.
Sorry. Brixbi is really on the same level as the small chaotic child right now.
So at some point, perhaps in the not too distant past, I would say that Brixbi has very clear memories of seeing somebody playing a pair of these. The finger symbols, or at least it's one finger symbol. It's not much good without its partner.
What is the sound of one symbol symboling?
Go on.
Nothing, exactly.
No, with that masterful natural 20 knowledge local roll, is this something that would be associated perhaps with like traveling musicians or performers?
Yeah, this is a fairly common thing you might see, like a Varisian performing troupe. One of the implements they might use in like their shows as they travel in like caravans.
Brixbi looks back, says,
I think I have a good idea who this might belong to. But before we get there,
makes eyes with the kid.
you gotta let us leave before you start your reign of terror. Pinky swear.
He goes, you can't go back on it, and you gotta give me the silver before you do the thing. So otherwise you won't be able to find me.
I still have one gold piece left from all of my. You can have that as well, kid. Here you go. And but you gotta leave us alone until we go. You can raise all the hells after.
Okay.
Your honor.
All right. I promise to try not to tell my grandma that it was you.
Remember that I have your eyelash. And
is that bad?
No, yes, it is. But it allows me to work my magic. So, alright, I'm going to take your little finger. We're just going to comply right here. Yes, excellent. Alright, kid. Give them hells.
Just makes the 9-year-old invisible for 8 minutes.
Uncle Brixbi.
I feel like you should have bluffed him and told him he was invisible.
Well, that would have been excellent. The only thing more chaotic than that is allowing the 9-year-old to be invisible.
We should get out of here as soon as possible. I have never been this scared. It is time to go.
Just leap over the fence.
Before we go kicking the door down on the logging camp full of Varisians, maybe we should see if we could find any other identifying useful pieces of information around where they were connoitering.
I agree, because we actually don't even know why they're down by the Badwater still, right? They just mentioned that they're there doing something Technic League-y, but we don't even know, right, why they're exactly there? I can't remember.
The note mentioned that, we do think this is just like what was in the Silver Mountain.
That's what it is. The mutations and stuff.
Yeah, they think whatever is causing the Badwater could be related to technology because there was similar nasty water somewhere around Silver Mount, I think was what our thing we found said.
That makes sense.
The note that the fake bird had.
Afflictions consistent with mutagenic gas poisoning as you positive from the Silver Mount expeditions. All right. Well, I completely agree with Jeff in terms of definitely still want to investigate the Badwater since we're here. But I think we know where we're going to go when we go back to town. The pitchfork store to get a mob. Bring them to the Varisians.
All right. So to investigate the Badwater, it's a non-trivially large area, but you know approximately where the person was, and Elborn gave you a decent idea of where he chased them. So if you want to roll in a survival check to try to pick up tracks.
I will attempt to aid.
I will attempt to aid, but not do my own because I have a -2 in this.
I will also aid.
Actually, can you aid with survival when it's not...
That's a D12.
What do you call it?
I don't think it's a trained-only skill.
Check the skills. Oh, no, it's not. Okay.
Maybe it's overkill,
Okay.
but I'm going to throw my Sky Medal on this because my bonus isn't great. What a waste. It rolled off a 14 to a 4. So even with a Sky Medal, it's less than Aluwen's aid roll.
Oof.
Becomes a 16 total.
Could still be.
Let's see. Trying to see So I think I'm looking at like what the DCs are, and it's only +1 for every 24 hours to the DC. And since you're around the Badwater and it's kind of sandy soil, it's actually not that hard to pick up a set of boot prints.
Nice.
And it looks like somebody was walking along the coast of the water and then abruptly stopped and turned and ran to the north. But following these tracks a little ways, all the way up to the tree line, right after they crossed the tree line, gone.
Perhaps they're like a bird and only fly away.
Don't know where their home is.
Yeah.
Where'd their soul?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So either like a pass without trace situation, or a wild shape, or a teleport, or if it's Technic League, we assume it's arcane.
Or technological, even.
Yeah.
Right?
Ooh, fair.
So
I want
it could be, some sort of item, could be some sort of spell. I think it would be, because I mean, you could just as easily. I'm not leaving tracks with a level 1 spell right now, theoretically. So there is a lot that definitely, and I don't think there would be enough to spellcraft it, because who knows? There could be so much. Like you said, it could be divine, it could be arcane, it could be technological. So
I feel like if they knew what kind of place Iadenveigh was, they probably wouldn't have a super lot of tech with them. So it's probably more likely just arcane magic. At least that's what I'm thinking, but maybe that's a little metagamey, but our characters know that Iadenveigh is not a place you bring tech, hence the board covered in dogs. Like,
it's true, but I mean that
That alone is a mere cantrip to the powers that I myself have recently acquired. I guess it's not technically a cantrip, it's a level 1 spell. Just kind of saying it's inconsequential magic, grand scheme of things. Hiding, technology. Well, maybe does not seem too difficult in this area. What is it that we can learn? We know they have some power outside of what it is that they appear to have. We know they're likely staying with the Parisians, posing as a Parisian.
Well,
What else can we draw?
is a 17 knowledge local enough to identify, like, these are Chilaxian boot prints? I know I'm kind of grasping for straws here, but I don't have any, like, profession Schumann cobbler ranks.
profession cobbler.
Harry Schumann.
I don't think that's enough to identify the boots. I mean, they're definitely not the same boots Asher has. He would definitely know that.
It's not me.
Beyond that, it's very difficult to say.
They don't have little kitty tails like Brixbi's.
I've watched The Garden of Worlds like 3 times. Does that give me any kind of insight into what kind of shoes they are?
So,
Brixby turns to the group.
I think we have 2 options. We can either try to find out what they're looking for, which may give us more information, but it may also present a substantial undertaking. If they think this is some sort of technological find, this is anything like Torch or Scrap Wall, we could find ourselves in a very dangerous situation very quickly, which I'm not opposed, feeling stronger today. Or we could go to the Parisians. We could try to ferret them out. I honestly see merits of both. How do you all feel?
I think if we catch this spy, then maybe the newspaper will stop being so mean to us. So, in that case, we could hang around the town longer without having to worry about overstaying our welcome, giving us more time to explore the Badwater.
That is true. But, well, let me say I have an idea before we visit those Parisians that might, I don't know, require a day or so. I just feel if we've already made this trip, it might be worth looking while we're here.
I'm not opposed to investigating, certainly, but I also perhaps have read one too many novels, but because I'm very literate. But wouldn't it be most unfortunate were we to uncover something that would then provide more information for the spy to send back, since they haven't yet time to investigate? If they have the magics to be scrying upon us, I don't know. I'm inclined to, as you said, we've made it all the way, both miles down here, and so we may as well walk around while we have the Mina Bardleigh's consent. But as for in-depth geological studies and technological excavations, may do to see if we can locate the spy before we get that deep into things.
This is true. I, personally, do not have the means to discern lies, to determine truth. I think that would be a useful addition to our investigative retinue when we do happen upon this band of merry travelers. I agree. I'm not quite sure we should get mired in exploration. We have no idea. I mean, past experience, what awaits us. So, I do think that it's worth. It was spooked, the spy, by the child. We don't know how long it is that they're even going to stay. They might think that their cover is blown. To borrow a turn of phrase from a place that I got it from. I don't know if that's how people talk. The spy was spotted by a child. They might not even... boop, third time. The spy was spotted by a child. They may change their cover soon. I agree. There's an element of expediency here. Perhaps we give the area a cursory search. Head back to town. Let Red Fang know. Maybe enlist the help. Someone that can help us tell truth from lie.
Yes, perhaps we could even say, I don't know, perhaps it's a horrible idea, but we could even say we've been, our friend Nolek said he knew of a good musician or something, and see if perhaps that Technic League agent that we had met that was being held captive below the arena might, knowing that name might gain us some trust, or it could get us murdered.
I do believe we should probably learn as much as we can about this band of travelers before we approach them. Who their leader is, they've had any run-ins with the town. We might be able to have them help us. If we tell them, maybe not what it is that we're looking for, but that there's someone imitating someone amongst their ranks. Might be enough. But until then, perhaps we survey the area before we head back.
You could do some exploring. Some pre-spy finding exploring. But very quick exploring.
It'd be really convenient if everyone in that Varisian group was not evil, and then only this one Technic League spy was evil, and I could just detect that. We'd save a lot of time.
Yeah. Although, like, oh, don't worry about Dave. We've known he's been evil for a while, but anyone else?
We call him old Evil Dave.
Evil Dave for reasons.
Oh, it's always Evil Dave. Well, I think you've got a week to come up with your plans. Seems like time to go to bed.
Good night, Sam.
Night, Sam.
Good night, Sam.
Good night, Sam.
Good night, Badwater.
Good night, Evil Dave.
Good night, Evil Dave.
Good night.
Now I see it in the Evil Dead font.
Against the machine.
Pot Against the Machine is property of Network Against the Machine LLC, all rights reserved. Pathfinder and the Iron Gods Adventure Path are property of Paizo Publishing. See their website for more details. Theme Against the Machine was written and performed by our own Zach. See the show notes for additional music and sound licensing. If you enjoyed the show, we encourage you to leave us a review.
I'm still trying to think of a fruit. I guess raspberry kind of has a Z in it. But banana doesn't, so, like, you can go with anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are no rules.
Yeah, it's going to say Zach clearly went with one that matched his.
I'd say
Zig
Zach
Granite.
Kiwi, but that's actually, the kiwi is the only thing I'm allergic to. It's not, like, bad. I just had this experience where, like, my partner was just like, I really love these, and I was just like, they're good, but, like, I just don't like how they make my, like, throat
swelling?
and face itchy. And she's just like, yeah, that shouldn't happen. Like,
Don't eat that.
please just hand me the
That's
EpiPen. I
awful
can't
because
breathe
they're basically
anymore.
better bananas. I feel so bad about that.
Oh, I wouldn't even.
Mango
They're apples and
Dro.
oranges, my guy. Like kiwi and
Well,
banana.
They have a very similar taste, and they have a lot of the same. They have almost the exact same.
Are we talking
stuff
about
in
the
them,
same
like the-
fruit?
Sam
I like
Payne.
my-
those little green. Yeah,
I like
they
my
have
fruit.
They have
in,
very
like-
similar amounts of like. What's it called? Like, is it potassium?
But there's a lot of potassium inside of those bananas, and I would
know
believe
that
there's.
one
And I mean,
from
there's
that
tons of
movie.
vitamin C inside of kiwis. Thank you for joining us for fruit,
Hey, hi.
fruit against the fruit.
We've done
Nobody
it.
else thinks kiwis and bananas taste a lot alike. Just kiwis are more kind of citrusy.
No.
Bananas don't make my face itch, so that's a big
It's a
portion
huge
of the
win.
kiwi flavor.
I feel
to
like
me.
nothing really tastes like a banana. It's kind of off in its
Plantains.
own world. No, plantains
I mean, not
are
really.
just
They
special
actually
bananas.
honestly don't even that
But-
much.
Plantain is a banana.
No, I would.
Doesn't count.
Like famously, bananas don't taste like bananas, right? There's that whole thing about how bananas used to taste different, and they taste like
Cavendish
banana-flavored
bananas.
things. Yeah,
That's the whole-
which is, I think is awful because banana
Monocropping.
things taste worse than regular bananas.
Wait,
Anyway.
words? Like, you don't like bananas?
I do not like bananas. It's like 90% texture, unsurprisingly.
Oh, no, not surprising at all.
What about
Bananas are
frozen
good.
bananas?
Love a
I
little
mean, I
red
guess
banana.
I could do a frozen banana. It hurt my teeth, but I'll
Oh,
take
yeah,
that
the
chance.
chocolate
Chocolate
dipped
dip?
frozen banana. Yeah, chocolate dip. Oregon
Just do this.
actually has a it's a banana coast. We have Oregon coastal bananas that were I think it was Oregon State University that like bred a banana to grow on our coast naturally. And so we have little Oregon coast bananas.
Oh.
Now I'm assuming that it's Oregon doing it, so they're like real wild bananas are only like that big and they have 9 million seeds in them.
Probably. And boy, do we love them. You know, you just pull out your banana spittoon, crack on in, peel the 5 different shells on the outside. I don't understand why you'd want one from a store when we have perfectly good seedy Oregon
those
coastal
natural
bananas.
Peen Dubs, Chalk Nan dip, John.